A crew of seasoned robbers successfully pulls off a major heist, but right after the job, one of their own betrays the team. That double cross sparks a revenge-fueled mission that turns into an even bigger, riskier heist than before. To see how the score gets settled, you'd have to watch the full story. We're talking about the crime action film Play Dirty. The movie opens with two professional thieves, Philly and Parker, arguing with their partner Stan shortly after hitting the money-counting room at a horse racetrack, where all the race day cash is secured. Stan had wanted to shoot the room's supervisor, but the others shut that down and drag him back to finish the job properly. Inside, their crew is already holding the staff hostage, and with the supervisor's help, Parker clears out the cash from the vault. Meanwhile, an employee happens to be driving past the facility with his family and notices two unfamiliar cars parked outside. Suspicious, he steps out, sneaks around to the back entrance and realizes a robbery is in progress. His wife urges him to call 911, but he has other plans. He grabs a pistol from the car and waits for the robbers to come out. As the robbers step outside, the employee suddenly opens fire, killing one of them on the spot and wounding Philly. Seizing the chaos, he rushes in, snatches a bag of cash, and makes a run for it. Parker chases after him, shooting as he goes, but the guy manages to start his car and flee, even with his wife and son inside, recklessly putting all their lives on the line. His wild escape turns into total mayhem, smashing through obstacles, tearing up everything in his path. At that very moment, a live horse race is underway at the adjacent track, and he accidentally barrels straight onto it, ruining the event as panicked horses scatter in every direction. Trapped and desperate, he jumps out of the car and tries to line up a shot at Parker, but Parker coolly drops him with a clean headshot from a distance, threading the shot through the chaos like a pro. Afterward, Parker retrieves the money bag from the man's shaken wife, feeling a twinge of guilt that greed just destroyed her family, so he hands her $10,000 before leaving. Soon after, his partners Philly and Jane pull up to extract him from the racetrack. They regroup at their hideout, treat Philly's shoulder wound, recover the stolen cash, and start discussing how to split everyone's cut. Out of nowhere, another member of the crew starts stripping off his outer clothes, drawing confused stares from everyone, then suddenly pulls a hidden pistol and opens fire. Before anyone can react, the room erupts into chaos as he guns people down, and in the crossfire, Parker's closest partner Philly is killed. Wounded but still sharp, Parker grabs a handgun off the table and dives out a window to escape. He tries to return fire at Chain, but his injuries wreck his aim. Another bullet hits his shoulder and he plunges into the river below. Chain gets away clean with all the stolen cash. In the next scene, a man named Kincaid meets his boss, Mr. Lozini, at the office and reports that Parker's name has surfaced among those tied to the racetrack robbery. Lozini is visibly rattled and wants to handle it himself, but Kincaid assures him he can take care of the situation solo. How they're connected to Parker becomes clear later. Meanwhile, Parker survives the fall, swims to safety, gets medical treatment, and checks into a hotel. He specifically asks the receptionist for room 12, but it's already booked. Ignoring that minor detail because subtlety isn't his thing, he barges straight into the room anyway. Parker smashes open a wooden wall partition in the hotel room and pulls out a hidden bag he'd stashed there earlier, packed with a pistol and other gear. After settling the bill and even covering the repair damage like a strangely polite outlaw, he leaves and goes to see Philly's wife, Grace. One look at Parker's face tells her the truth. Philly's gone, and the grief hits hard. Parker explains that Philly had brought a woman named Chain into the crew, and she double-crossed everyone and set the bloodbath in motion. Determined to track her down, Parker asks Grace for help. She points him to a man named Raji Riley, who has the inside scoop, and makes Parker promise he'll avenge her husband. He gives his word. Parker then contacts an old associate, Alan Groupfield, and gets Riley's address. Riley turns out to be a flashy, wealthy operator. As he heads to his luxury car one day, Parker is already in the driver's seat, aiming a gun at him. Shocked, Riley asks where his regular driver, Jimmy, is, figuring no one could pull this off without neutralizing someone that skilled. Parker doesn't flinch. He presses Riley for information about Chain, and when Riley refuses to talk, Parker casually shoots the man's drink glasses to make his point. Terrified, Riley finally talks and reveals that Chain is hiding in an under-construction building in the city. He also explains that she used to be a member of an elite death squad in her home country, which means she's highly trained and extremely dangerous in any kind of combat. Parker soon realizes they're being tailed. Several cars have been shadowing them for a while. When he points it out, Riley panics and urges him to do something, promising Chain's exact address in return. Before they can act, Chain's men slam into their car in a violent crash, wrecking Riley's prized ride. From the outside, it looks like both men are dead, but when one attacker approaches, Parker suddenly shoots him. The rest unleash a barrage of gunfire at the vehicle, and Riley doesn't survive the hail of bullets. Parker, staying cool under pressure, takes cover and methodically eliminates the attackers. He then frees Riley's driver, Jimmy, from the car. Seeing the gunfight, Jimmy grabs a pistol and joins in, taking down a few gunmen before getting fatally shot himself. When the smoke clears, only one attacker is left alive. Parker hauls the wounded man into another car, takes the keys from its owner, and speeds away from the scene. Meanwhile, Caine is seen meeting with a man named Bosco. Caine presses Bosco for details about a mysterious plan, but he hesitates, saying that if he talks, she'll probably kill him. Caine coolly replies that trust is the foundation of their criminal world, an ironic claim, considering she already betrayed and wiped out her own crew. While they're talking, Parker suddenly shows up and aims his gun, demanding his stolen money back. Caine admits the cash is already gone, spent. Bosco keeps trying to interrupt from the side, pretending to talk it out, but then makes a sudden move for a pistol in his coat pocket. Parker reacts instantly and shoots him down. Caine loses it, furious, because she needed Bosco alive. A major mission is underway, one she already poured $400,000 into, the very money she stole from Parker. Before she can explain further, Bosco unexpectedly gets back up and starts firing. He'd been playing dead on the floor. Parker puts him down for good this time. He then presses Caine to reveal what mission could possibly burn through that much cash. She first claims it's for a bank robbery, but Parker quickly sees through the lie. Even after multiple attempts to mislead him, his sharp instincts keep catching every bluff. Finally, with no options left, Caine uses her last chance to come clean. Years ago, her home country, La Baz, discovered a massive treasure shipwreck off its coastline. Cargo worth over $1 billion, more than the nation's entire GDP. But their corrupt president, Ignacio, plans to pocket it instead of using it for the country. His scheme is to recover the treasure, put it on display at the United Nations headquarters in New York City, then stage a fake robbery using hired thieves so he can skim almost all the wealth for himself. The local gang recruited for that job is called The Outfit. Caine and a small team want to intercept the operation and reclaim the treasure for their people. She offers Parker a partnership and he sets aside revenge to join the mission. Bringing a trusted friend, Parker meets her superior, Colonel Ortiz, a military leader from her country, who's determined to stop the president's plot and secure the treasure for national interest. Parker agrees to help but demands a 30% cut. Ortiz resists at first, but Caine persuades him. Pros like Parker don't grow on trees. The plan? Hit the treasure transfer right outside the UN building. Parker points out that the UN complex is one of the most heavily secured locations on the planet. Trying to steal from there would be suicide. A smarter play is to hijack the treasure from the gang hired by the president to stage the fake robbery. In simple terms, steal from the thieves. After the meeting, Groupfield asks why Parker would go after that crew. And the moment Parker says, "The Outfit," Groupfield is stunned. We then learn that Lozini, the man seen earlier, is actually the boss of The Outfit, with Kincaid as his associate, and Parker already has messy history with them. Groupfield can't believe Parker is willing to tangle with Lozini again, but Parker tells him to keep tabs on Kincaid. Meanwhile, Parker heads out with Caine to meet Bosco's boyfriend. Yes, Bosco was gay. They arrive at the boyfriend's nightclub where Caine asks to speak to him alone, but Parker doesn't fully trust her and goes in too. Caine first tries to charm him to get information, but when that fails, Parker bluntly tells the man that Bosco is dead. The news hits instantly and he breaks down in tears. In the middle of the chaos, Caine asks Bosco's boyfriend where the plans Bosco had are hidden. He says the documents are upstairs with a man named Mr. Bulliard. At the same time, Groupfield calls Parker with a warning. Kincaid is heading toward a nightclub with several men. Moments later, armed thugs storm the same club, firing shots into the air to panic the crowd. Parker quickly realizes they're Kincaid's crew. They rough up Bosco's boyfriend, demanding to know where Bosco is. Ever since Bosco went missing, Kincaid's been hunting him on Lozini's orders, but the man has no answers, and the stress triggers a heart attack. Seeing this, Caine steps in, claiming she's a doctor. While pretending to help, she grabs a pistol from beneath a table and suddenly opens fire, taking out Kincaid's men in a relentless burst. Meanwhile, Parker heads upstairs to retrieve the plans from Mr. Bulliard. He soon realizes Bulliard isn't there, just a life-sized elephant doll posed on the bed. Tearing it open reveals nothing, but a nearby cabinet holds several similar dolls. Inside one of them, Parker finally finds the documents. Outside, Kincaid waits in a car, but the gunfire forces him to rush inside. He charges upstairs and attacks Parker on sight, leading to a brutal hand-to-hand fight between the two. Parker ultimately overpowers Kincaid and hurls him out a second-story window. Kincaid survives the fall by landing on a car, but he's left with multiple broken bones. With the plan files secured, Parker escapes the club with his team. Kincaid is rushed to the hospital, where Lozini visits him and, after hearing what happened, coldly remarks that Parker should have been dealt with personally. Meanwhile, Parker recruits former partners Odd, Brenda, and Stan for the mission, along with the fighters Caine couldn't take down earlier. He lays out the full strategy to everyone, including Colonel Ortiz. The outfit may not even know exactly how they'll steal the treasure from the UN, and Parker doesn't care. That part isn't his problem. His move begins after the theft, when the outfit transports the treasure elsewhere. Their plan is to move it in multiple bags aboard a freight train controlled through an automated switch system, which makes the operation easier. Parker's team learned all this from Bosco's files. On the night of the transfer, they'll take the rail crew hostage, seize control of the train, and then push it past 110 km/h. The excessive speed will force a derailment, crashing the train so they can grab the treasure in the chaos. Parker's team plans to grab the treasure in the chaos after the train wreck. With the strategy set, Parker returns to his favorite hotel. This time, room 12 is finally available, and the manager recognizes him and hands over the key. But when he walks in, Caine is already there, dressed to kill and holding drinks, trying to seduce him while retelling the shipwreck story. The moment doesn't last. Her bodyguard Mateo barges in. He's had a crush on her and clearly isn't a fan of Parker. Mateo knocks Parker out cold with one punch, and they haul him to a remote spot for a rough interrogation. Mateo reveals they plan to hand Parker over to the outfit. Parker warns them that won't save anyone. The outfit knows they're all partners in the heist. Mateo shrugs and says they'll just leave Parker there and disappear before the outfit arrives. As they're about to leave, approaching engine noise makes Mateo send his men to check it out. Parker urges him to cut him loose, saying the incoming crew is dangerous and they'll need to fight together. When distant screams confirm trouble, Mateo buys it and frees him. Moments later, Caine steps into view. Caine snaps at Mateo, making it clear she was never his girlfriend and that his stupidity nearly wrecked the entire operation. But she tracked their location through his phone and showed up in time. Suddenly, a gunman attacks from behind, and Parker drops him before anyone gets hurt. Grateful, Mateo moves in to hug Parker, but Parker pulls him close as human cover. Another shooter is lining up a shot from a distance, and the bullets slam into Mateo instead, killing him. Caine immediately takes out the distant attacker. Then one of the fallen men's phones starts ringing. Parker answers, and Lozini recognizes his voice instantly. The call reveals their history. Parker once eliminated Lozini's former boss, which paved the way for Lozini to take control of the outfit. But once in power, Lozini saw Parker as a threat, so they struck a deal: stay out of each other's operations. Now Parker is stepping directly into Lozini's territory, and Lozini fires back with a threat. By tomorrow morning, Parker's body will be in the street. He also makes it clear he already knew about their entire plan. Lozini's warning changes everything. The heist gets moved up, and the treasure will be transferred from the UN today, not tomorrow. The news hits Parker like a freight train. He immediately calls Group Field and orders everyone to mobilize. The team had been drinking, assuming they had another day, but Parker's call snaps them into action. Odd and Brenda head for the train station as planned. Group Field knocks a guy out and takes his motorcycle, and Stan, still half drunk, steals a truck to join the operation. At the station, Odd and Brenda warn the rail operators that a man named Glask is about to hijack them, which is actually part of the setup since Glask is on their team. Right on cue, Glask pulls a gun and pretends to take everyone hostage. When an operator opens the door for Odd and Brenda, they rush in and knock Glask out to make it look real. The relieved operators start applauding, until the crew flips the script and takes them hostage for real. Meanwhile, Parker and Caine race toward the station. Using the control board, Odd and Brenda ramp up the train's speed, while the outfit members on board have no clue what's unfolding. Group Field arrives near the tracks too. His bike skids on ice, but he ditches it and sprints toward the railway. Following Parker's instructions, Group Field makes several attempts and finally smashes the trip switch that controls proper track alignment. But even with the switch damaged, the train isn't moving fast enough to derail. Parker and Caine are already waiting at the curve where the crash was supposed to happen, and when the train blasts past them safely, they realize the plan is falling apart. One last chance remains: the next bend. Group Field races to destroy that switch too, but Stan accidentally plows into him with the stolen truck and doesn't even see him. Regaining consciousness, he fires multiple shots at the switch and finally breaks it. Meanwhile, Parker and Caine reach the next curve and instantly see the problem. It's a steep, elevated turn. If the train derails here, the impact will be catastrophic. As the train hurtles toward them, Parker slams the car into reverse and guns it out of the danger zone. What follows is an absolutely brutal crash. The train flies off the rails, slamming down and obliterating everything for hundreds of meters. Rail cars rip past like paper, even tearing over Groupfield's position. Parker barely escapes by reversing straight into a shop for cover. In the chaos, one of the outfit's members is thrown from the wreck and crashes down onto their car. They jump out of the car, pry open the train containers, and their excitement dies instantly. The container that was supposed to hold the treasure is packed with rocks. Lozini played them. Surviving members of the outfit show up and open fire, but Parker's crew fights them off and makes a run for it. Their escape stalls when a blown tire leaves them stranded in front of the police, until Stan barrels in with a stolen squad car and rams the cruisers aside, pulling off a last-second rescue. With the heist in ruins, morale tanks. Caine starts packing to leave town, but Parker stops everyone. He's got one more angle. When the treasure was recovered from the shipwreck, a priceless statue was attached to it, the historic Lady of Aranzino statue, valued at over $500 million. Most of the jewelry has already been sold off to private buyers, making this single piece the most valuable item left. If they can grab it, they can still recover at least half the money. The catch? They need to know who's buying it, and that intel sits with Lozini's assistant, Kincaid. So Parker stages a distraction. He sends Groupfield to the hospital roof in disguise, where Kincaid is being treated, and has him act like a desperate man on the verge of jumping. One of Kincaid's bodyguards heads to the roof to investigate the jumper, but Parker ambushes him and knocks him out cold. They put a mask on the guard and toss him off the roof as a decoy. Already dressed as police officers, Parker and Groupfield then walk straight to Kincaid's hospital room and knock. Another bodyguard opens the door. He gets dropped too. Kincaid panics the moment he sees Parker, remembering he was thrown off a roof, and when he's told it was actually his own guard who took the fall, the shock makes him pass out. With Kincaid useless, Parker questions his girlfriend, who surprisingly knows the buyer's identity, billionaire Phineas Paul. Parker tracks him down at a restaurant mid-dinner. When Parker asks about the statue, Phineas tries to flex power and tells him to back off. Parker responds by shooting Phineas's friend in front of everyone. Message received. Terrified, Phineas is kidnapped and hauled into a van where the crew is waiting. He reveals the statue is stored in a secret vault in the Green Brook area of the city. The vault is built from tungsten alloy, basically unbreakable, but the time lock is set to open the next morning. The vault can only be opened when the time lock releases in the morning, so the crew has to move fast. After squeezing all the intel out of Phineas, they stash him in a safe house with Stan standing guard. Meanwhile, Parker and Groupfield head to the vault site. They trick the security guards, knock them out, plant explosives, and blast their way inside. So much for unbreakable. Phineas bragged that even his own company couldn't crack it, but against pros like Parker, it's just another lock. They load the massive statue onto a trolley, hitch it to their vehicle, and roll out. Back at the hideout, Stan guards Phineas with the focus of a bored mall cop, chain-smoking non-stop and taking nothing seriously. By midnight, he's drunk and asleep, giving Phineas time to cut himself free. He flags down a passing car, borrows a phone, and calls Lozini. The moment Lozini hears Parker has the statue, he mobilizes the outfit to intercept. Up ahead, Caine watches from a hillside vantage point and spots multiple vehicles approaching. Bad news confirmed. The outfit closes eyes in and opens fire from behind, forcing Groupfield to veer the vehicle off-road into the woods to escape. Parker pulls off a wild move. He leaps from the speeding vehicle onto the trolley carrying the statue, then fires with precision and blows up one of the pursuing cars. After cutting through the woods, their vehicle slams into a barrier, and Parker is launched through the air, crashing straight through a building wall and landing in someone's bedroom. Even with people chasing him inside, he fights his way out, sprints back, and dives onto the moving trolley again. Lozini's men are still in pursuit when the chain linking the trolley to the vehicle suddenly loosens, sending Parker tumbling to the ground once more. Caine roars in with another car, firing on the move in full action movie style, and together, she and Parker wipe out the nearby gunmen. Meanwhile, Groupfield keeps driving but runs into more attackers. Then the trolley chain fully snaps, separating the statue from the vehicle and forcing Groupfield to abandon the run. Lozini's crew seize the moment and recover the statue, delivering it straight to Phineas Paul. But when Phineas examines it, he realizes it's a fake. Furious, he immediately calls President Ignacio, who in turn unleashes a storm of abuse at Lozini, assuming he pulled a switch. In reality, Parker had already outplayed everyone. The twist? They never cracked the real vault the night before. Instead, they staged an elaborate fake, planting a replica statue in a different vault and blowing that one open to sell the illusion. Stan, who looked passed out drunk, was actually following Parker's plan, deliberately letting Paul escape so he'd call Lozini and tip him off. Groupfield was in on it too. He intentionally loosened the trolley chain so the statue would fall right into the outfit gang's hands. The whole thing was a setup, and the outfit walked straight into it. A masterclass in long con strategy. Once the deception worked, the crew hit the real vault with explosives. When the walls collapsed, the genuine historic statue was finally revealed, and they moved to extract it. That's when Lozini and his gang stormed in. They took out Stan at the perimeter and held him hostage, then forced Parker into a standoff and made him drop his weapon. Lozini had pieced the plan together. Parker had manipulated the vault numbering and misdirection so the Vault 1 target became Vault 3, the one he actually destroyed. Lozini sneered, asking what Parker really gained since the plan supposedly failed. Parker just smiled. He knew the outfit was bleeding money, and selling the statue would have bailed them out big time, but he was never going to let that happen. Then he told Lozini to take a closer look at the statue. Lozini finally notices the statue is wrapped head to toe in tripwires, and Parker's holding a remote detonator. One press and the statue is history. Cornered at the edge of a drop, Lozini tries to cut a deal. Gunfire erupts outside, and he smirks, claiming his men are taking out Parker's crew. Parker just laughs and flips the script. Lozini's gang is actually getting wiped out by the president's guards. Before coming here, Parker sent intel framing the situation to look like Lozini was double-crossing everyone to steal the statue. The guards bought it and started eliminating the outfit team. Meanwhile, Stan breaks free with help from Jane and Groupfield. Trapped from both sides, Lozini makes one last desperate attempt to negotiate, but Parker isn't listening. He hits the button. The real $500 million statue explodes into fragments. When Lozini's bodyguards rush him, Parker drops them with ease and delivers the final blow to Lozini, settling an old score. Before the president's forces can arrive, the crew slips away. No payday from the mission, but Parker had already stripped the statue of its priceless jewelry. Not rich, just efficient. Those jewels were worth roughly $203 million, and Parker split the take with his crew. After the chaos, he heads to his favorite hotel, Room 12, to finally breathe, where Jane is already waiting. On TV, breaking reports reveal that leaked intel has exposed all the crimes of the president of La Habres. The nation's stolen treasures are being recovered, and a patriotic figure, Colonel Ortiz, is stepping in as the new president. Jane realizes none of this happens without Parker. She invites him to stay with her in La Paz, but Parker shuts it down. He hasn't forgotten what went down in Restrike. That was the day Jane killed his closest friend Phil. In that moment, she understands charm won't save her. Parker calmly tells her to finish her last drink and walks out. A gunshot echoes from the room. Message received. He's kept his promise to Phil's wife, Grace, later gifting her some of the jewelry he took from the statue. With loose ends tied and justice served, Parker rings in the new year with Groupfield. Roll credits.